Hey, good morning, and I think this is match review number 21, and there are a couple of interesting positions in it, so let's have a look. There are a total of 12 blunders that I made in this match, and you can see from the corner here that the luck was not in my favor in this match with a minus 5.6, and I was also outplayed by a touch. And it was not a particularly close match. So right away, one of the things I noticed as I was making lists of what I was doing wrong was that I was often missing chances to hit loose inside here, and so when I got the opportunity in the first game of the match, I did that. And actually, that's not what the mistake in this play is. The mistake is that I should have just moved up to the 22 instead of breaking the midpoint. If you're going to break the midpoint, you should have a good reason to do that. And the one that I had in my head was, I'll have more chances to build along here. But moving up and keeping your structure intact and making a simpler play is the smarter move here. Later, same game, I have a 5-3, and I thought this was really interesting because I was just trying to keep my pieces. My goal was to keep my pieces intact, and I can't move the checker on the 24 point, and I can't move a 3 off of this, so that only leaves a 5 to move off the 20 point, which I felt like I had to do. And I can't move a 5 here. I could have played 8-5 and 6-1. That was a thought that I had in my head. It's a pretty awkward roll, and I was surprised and impressed to see what the computer came up with here, which was 7-4-7-2, which does play one checker behind, leaves the structure mostly intact, especially with the builders, so you still have some flexibility, and doesn't break the 20 point, which is where you are going to end up getting attacked when you leave the 20 to the 15. And that's what ended up happening. I did not see this play. Alright, moving on. We're down 0-1, and we have a 3-2 to play. And here, remember the last in one of the previous games, the one I just showed you, I should have moved the checker up 24-21 or 24-22, and so I tried to do the same thing here. But of course, if you move it up to 21, you're exposing it to shots from 3 different places. And I still have a stacked midpoint here. So the correct play is to move 13-10, 13-12, stay back on the 24 where a 6-5 frees you, maybe a 6-3 gets you out of this is helpful, or a 4-5. So there are a lot of pretty good rolls that you can have from back on the 24 point, plus you're least likely to be hit there because it's the least valuable point for your opponent. Here we're trailing 0-2. We're behind a 5-point prime with one checker, and I played ultra safe, both checkers behind here. And the computer likes this move to build the 7 point, and again, you can see it's just a simpler move if checkers don't cross over, and you're going to get doubled here no matter what, and it's probably a drop. Alright, here's a 3-1 where we can't move the checkers from the 22 point at all, and I made a very safe play with the 13-10, 6-5, and the computer likes slotting here, which you can see a lot to recommend it. If you don't get hit, you have a great chance to build the 5-point prime, and if you do get hit, you've got a shot at the checker on the 1 point. You still have an anchor here, so that enables you to make a fairly strong play, and I didn't make one. Now we're trying 1-4, and I thought this was also a very interesting position. Obviously, you're forced to come in with the checker on the bar, and I mechanically just moved both checkers up from the 21 to the 20 to make that hit, and then I had one checker left, and since this checker was already loose, I just moved it up a notch to the 2-point. And the computer had different ideas, and it likes this. And this does 3 good things at once, which is highly recommended. Obviously, coming in is one good thing. Making the 5-point is the second good thing. And hitting on the 20-point is the third good thing. You still have this loose checker here on the 3, but what you're left with at the end of this play, if I can show you here's what you're looking at the end of the play. You've got a reasonable chance to not get hit or to get bounced. I mean, you got an 11% chance of getting a bounce. You're not extremely likely to be hit, and having these checkers spread out actually makes it easier to nail down an anchor later, even though you're giving up an anchor now. You have to make that hit. I don't love it, but I didn't love the play that I actually made either. So here is a double that I should have taken that I passed. And I didn't love this. I'm down in the race. I do have the anchor. I don't know how long my timing is going to last. So I have a 23% chance. This is a pretty near thing. I'm probably not going to get gammon. There's only a 7% chance of a gammon here. I'm down 4-1. So maybe that leads you a little bit more in the direction I'll take. Alright, here I have a 5-2 to play, and I'm showing you the end of the position, which I don't really need to be doing. And here's the play that I made, which was to make the 3 and then split the 4 and the 2, so that I wound up with this position at the end. And what I was doing was saving 6. And what I have noticed is that the computer never favors saving 6. Just go ahead and make the play that you should make. Take the 5, move 7, play 8 to 3, and 7 to 5, and worry about 6 later. Here's what I thought was the most interesting play in the match. And you notice I'm down 6-1 here in a match to 9. And I have this situation. I have an anchor on the 21. I have still holding the midpoint. I have a 5-point inner board with the bottom 4. And I have a shot. And I count 15 shots to hit here. There are 11 deuces plus double 1, which is 12, plus 6-4 and 4-6, plus 5-5, which all hit and put the checker up. And because red has 106 to go, has 7 checkers out here, plus this one, there is a reasonable chance at a gammon here if you get the hit. So you've got 15 out of 36, which is about 40% to make the hit. And if you get the hit, you have a chance at a gammon. The other thing that you have going for you is your race is square. It is literally 106 to 106. So this is a situation where all these things combined add up to a double. You're trailing by a lot in the score. You are even in the race and might win that. And you might get a hit that might lead to a gammon. And all those things sort of push you over into, if only 2 of them were true, you wouldn't do it. But because all 3 of them are true, and because you need to get back into the match, a double makes sense here. If you get the hit, you've got a 17% chance that it'll turn into a gammon, and then all of a sudden you're at 6-5, and you have a very reasonable chance to win the match. I didn't even see it. This is a 4-2, which I used to make the 9 point, and which XG would have used to play much more safely. And see, we've gotten back to 4-6, and I have a 2-1 here, and I broke the midpoint, and XG wanted me to slot the 5 point. You can't get the 5 point. You can get the 5 point if you roll 3-1 or double 1, but here's a chance to slot the 5 point. You can make a stronger play because you have an anchor. You might as well take a risk at getting something that you want. And if red does get the hit, you get to recycle a checker and start attacking again. Same play, and here I gave up my backgammon a little bit too soon with the 6. And XG's like, just play 8-2 and 6-5. Again, make the simple play. And that was the last error of the match. I did end up losing, I think, the finals 9-4. Yeah, I went to 4-8 Crawford, and I didn't get off of that. So, but yeah, make the simple play, and I didn't have the hit lose errors that I usually have. It was a pretty good match for me from a decisions I made standpoint. Obviously, a pretty crummy match for me from the what the dice did standpoint. But that's backgammon. Thank you for watching.